Yo, I'm Kavam.
Yo, I'm Rash.
And welcome to the Before Our Friends Die podcast on the akhi&saltfish digital network. This is the platform where we have the conversations we want to have before we leave this planet.
With that in mind, let's go.
Let's go. So, Rachel.
What are you saying, Kavan?
I'm all good, man. How's it going?
Chilling as always, man. What are you saying?
We are joined by two very, very special guests. But before we introduce them, I want to tell you a little bit of a story, right?
Okay.
Oh.
So basically, this is a true story as well. I was leaving Tesco yesterday, and I saw this donation point for food and clothes, and it said at the bottom, it was a logo that said Diabetes UK, no diabetes, and fight diabetes. So with that in mind, today we're going to get to know type 1 diabetes because we've got a very, very special guest. Introduce her, Rochelle.
I forgot, sorry.
I didn't know where to be that high.
Do you want the full government name? Or just Molly?
Yeah, whatever, I don't mind.
Yeah, we have Molly. And we have Martha. Both sisters.
Yep.
So we've got Molly and Martha, two sisters. And basically, just to throw it out there, Molly, you got type 1 diabetes, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And we're going to talk about that because we don't actually know much about type 1 diabetes, I think, or diabetes in general. So I've got a few statistics here. Around 90% of people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes, and 8% of people with diabetes have type 1. About 2% of people with diabetes have a rarer type of diabetes, otherwise known as type 3. We're not going to talk about type 3. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I never knew that existed.
You just said that. I didn't even know type 3
we did some
was
research
like
before this.
So Diabetes UK are right.
Yeah.
This is true
Molly
story.
was like, I never knew
Yeah,
that.
you sure?
They said it's a very rare one, about 2%. So we'll maybe do another episode on that. But for now, it's basically type 1 we're going to talk about. The NHS spends about £10 billion a year on diabetes, and that's 10% of the budget. And the latest figures show that 4.8 million people in the UK have diabetes. So let's talk about it. Molly, first question is, for you, what does it mean to you? What is type 1 diabetes?
I think now probably I've just got used to it. So like I don't really think of it as anything, but it's for me just knowing that when I eat I have to inject, and I don't know, I just think
I don't know if our situation was a little bit
different
unique as well.
Yeah, because our dad is type 1 diabetic, so we sort of grew up with it and it was sort of very normal. So when I sort of like got it, I didn't it wasn't like a massive shock, do you know what I mean? Because I knew what you had to do.
I think the language was something that was we were used to in our house.
Yeah.
Talking about lows, talking about highs, kind of the routine around it, we were a little bit more familiar with.
And like even just seeing someone inject, I think if you didn't have someone with diabetes in your family, it'd be a bit sort of scary, but we were used to like seeing needles and things lying around.
If you want to talk after the podcast about
I promise it was diabetes.
Is it cool friend?
So literally for the body, is it a non-functioning pancreas, right? Type 1 is a non-functioning pancreas.
Yes. So when I was in like hospital and things, they said you have like a honeymoon period. So your pancreas is still making insulin for say like a couple of months, and then it just sort of shuts down and stops. So when you first start injecting, your pancreas is still working a little bit, and then it gets to a point where it's just like
doesn't work,
completely stops. Yeah.
So this is a couple months after what? Is it after diagnosis, after birth?
Yeah, after diagnosis. So
how old were you, or when did you get it?
So I was thinking of this earlier, and I was just left year 11. So would I have been 16, turning 17 in the September?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was
we're the older ones, aren't we? In the year?
Yeah. So I was 16. Okay. Yeah. Me and you, Rochelle. September. Yeah.
Me and Kavanagh the youth over here.
Yeah.
Molly's older though. Looking younger.
Sorry.
Oh no. Yeah. So I got it then, like in the summer holidays.
Yeah.
So yeah, just before I turned 17.
I remember when you came in sixth form, or
do you?
Yeah, I remember that when you came in with the pen and everything.
And I used to like check everybody else.
Yeah, you did my test. You did my test. I think you said it was alright, but I don't know about now. I don't know about now.
Where those biscuits? So let's bring it back a little bit. So non-functioning pancreas, but what, for the first 16 years of your life it was fine? How does that work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when I like went into hospital and things, they said that it could have been not working for like a couple of months, maybe up to a year before the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like, don't even know if they sort of like researchers know whether it's in like your DNA, your genetics, because obviously our dad is. So
didn't we see something that said if your parents diabetic, you've got a 1 in 5 chance of one of the children being diabetic. I don't know if that's
And there's 5 of you,
and there's 5 of us, and I
so
got
Molly
it.
took the team.
My luck. No, but we've also got a cousin that's diabetic, and I feel like my dad's got cousins in America that are diabetic. So I don't know if it is like genetic or
that cousin's on your dad's side.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure it's one of his cousins or something. But I think I don't know if for us it's just in our like.
It's very normal.
Yeah, like genes or something.
Yeah.
Okay. You said you went to hospital and they told you might have had it for a few months.
Yeah.
What made you go to hospital?
So I was actually. Do you remember NCS?
Yeah.
I knew if I said it, Michelle would laugh.
I was meant to go to it.
Shout out NCS, the biggest scam.
Got me bare jobs.
I think we was doing something that day, and I'd just come home and I was like really tired. And I remember at the time I was like craving sugary food. So if there's like no sugar in the house, I feel like I always say this all the time, there used to be no sugar in the house, so I'd get like Weetabix and just cover it in sugar and just eat like Weetabix with sugar on it.
Yeah.
Obviously like in milk and stuff, but that was the only sort of sugar if we had it. And I was like going to the toilet lots, so like you drink lots of water, like weeing lots.
But they say it's 3 T's.
Yeah, what is it? Thirst,
tiredness, and toilet. Like your
so there's like the 3 T's. I think I didn't realise at the time, but I did lose quite a lot of weight, didn't I? But at the time, I didn't sort of notice it. And then I think I was just really tired one day, and obviously because Dad had his kit, Mum was like, "Oh, let's just test it." And it was, I'm sure it was like nearly 30, like on the meter.
I don't even think it really
What does
read
that mean?
it.
What's good and bad?
So like when you check your blood, so like you know when you like prick your finger and then you test your blood sugars, you get a number. So it's meant to be between 4 and 7. And mine was like
30.
Yeah, mine was like nearly 30. I'm sure it was nearly 30.
I think it's or sometimes it doesn't even read it. It just says hi.
Just
so
says
it's
hi.
so high that it doesn't even read it.
Go to hospital.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, teasing. Oh, sorry. I think you were no. So we went to the hospital because Mum was like, obviously that's not normal.
Good,
yeah. So we just went, and then I had to have like bloods taken, and then they just sort of said like, yeah, it's diabetes. So, and then I stayed in for 2 nights, I think, just to sort of get used to. Because it's like a whole new way of life, really, isn't it? Like, I know it was normal for us, but I think when it was you, like when it was happening to you, you have to learn sort of when to check your blood sugars, how you're feeling, because you feel different at different times with your blood sugars.
And what you inject for different food
as
well.
So every food is like a different amount of insulin that you have to inject. So, but I think that was definitely when they were like, came up as 30. Mum was like, right, time to go to the hospital. Yeah.
So what's going through your mind when they're telling you 16, you've got type 1 diabetes, we're going to keep you in for a couple of nights, show you what you need. What's going through your mind at this point?
Like, honestly, at the time, I think I didn't even really think about it. I just was like, you know, when you're just like going through the motions of something, and I didn't really sort of think about it. I was just sort of sitting through what I was being told and like just going along with it. And then I think the second night I was in hospital, that's when I was a bit like, oh my God, like this is for life. This isn't just, and I know it's, you know, it is serious, but I know it's not, I can still do normal things in like normal life.
Yeah.
But I think that was when I thought, oh my God, I've got to do this
Every
forever.
day.
But it was the second night, so I don't know if I just had more time to think and for it to settle, you know, like for me to think more about it, really.
How many times do you have to inject yourself?
So every time I eat, and if like my blood sugars are high, then I would have to inject to sort of like bring them down a little bit. So if I feel like I've got really tired legs or headaches or just don't feel like 100% and I check my blood sugars and they're quite high or whatever, then I'll inject to sort of bring them down a little bit.
Okay.
And what's it based on? Like, is there a maths equation in your head that you do when you eat a certain thing? Like, what is it?
You're meant to, yeah, but sometimes
so
I
used to it now,
guesstimate.
No.
Sometimes I guesstimate. No. So like every diabetic's different. So you'll have like, so for me, my ratio is 1 to 10. So if I have 10 grams of carbs in a meal, so 10 grams of carbs could be, say, like a cookie, I would inject 1 unit of insulin.
So you can't snack? Can you snack?
Rochelle's really?
Shocked, yeah. Yeah,
Just inject myself 24/7.
yeah, so obviously every food is different. So say like if I was having a meal and there was like 8 grams of carbs in it, no, 80 grams of carbs in it, I'd have to inject 8 units of insulin. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So like every meal, every snack, everything's different.
Okay.
So for someone without type 1 diabetes, their pancreas naturally does that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
I feel blessed, you know. You take it for granted.
So when you inject, do you feel different right away? Is it a period of time?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Obviously every food, I feel like you know this language, but like fast acting and slow acting. So
Tell us some more.
like a slow acting carb would be something like bread or potato or pasta, maybe like pizza, chips, things like that. So if I was to inject, it would take a longer amount of time to sort of get into my body, things like that. Whereas if I had something like sweets or like orange juice, something really sugary, it would send my bloods really high up, like because it's a fast acting.
And you have to inject straight away?
Yes, yeah. So I'd have to make sure that I'd injected probably before, so it's sort of in my body by the time I eat it and it levels it out. Yeah. I should really do that for all of them, but if I remember.
Exposing yourself.
Yeah.
So I think, we're about 10 minutes in. I think it's worthwhile clearing up. There is a complete difference, isn't there, between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
Yes.
Type 1, like we said earlier, is genetic, and type 2, I'm not really going to talk on it too much because I don't really know too much, but it's more lifestyle based, isn't it? It's too much sweet stuff in your lifestyle, or
I think so. I think like type 2 you can control with sort of like tablets or diet, or it can come on maybe at a later stage in life. So maybe if you're in your 50s or your 60s, and maybe you need to sort of change your lifestyle. But type 1 is like it's just sort of by chance, really, isn't it? You just develop it, don't you?
Yeah. And there's nothing you can do within your lifestyle to change that, and there's no tablets you can take, is that right?
No.
Okay. But let's talk a little bit about how the, I suppose, management of type 1 diabetes has evolved over time, because previously it was pricking your finger and measuring the bloods there and then. It's a little bit different now, isn't it?
Yes, so now, I think a couple of years I've had it. It's like a sensor on my arm. So every 2 weeks I like place it on my arm, and I just scan now, like with a little machine, my arm, and it tells me...
She's an android.
Chips.
I'm a robot. I scan it and then it tells me my blood sugars.
So you don't have to prick your finger anymore?
So I don't have to do my finger anymore, yeah.
No way.
So
It seems so ancient now.
I know. Because when
the thought of you having to prick your finger seems
when you
like...
said about
I thought it was still a thing.
I think some people do it, but like when you said when I came into school at that time and I was like checking it.
Yeah, we were like, let's have a go. Yeah, I remember that.
It seems so old fashioned because now I'm just like scanning, and then
What did your dad do?
he scans as well now.
Has he done that? When you got diagnosed, what was he doing then? Pricking.
Yeah, finger pricking.
So is that a new...
Sorry, the way he's pricking.
Is that a new development in medicine? Or is that...
Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, how does it work?
I think I must have had it about 4 or 5 years.
You've had it for 4 or 5?
The sensor.
Okay.
So I probably did about 2 or 3 years like finger pricking, and then 4 or 5 years maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What was the pros and cons of the sensor versus the prick, and how does that end up in your daily life?
This is so easy. So like if I'm really tired at night and I just want to check them, I can just literally pick up the machine, scan it.
Item not detected.
Whereas before I'd have to sort of like turn the light on, whatever, prick your finger. And this, I feel like it's a little bit more like, not I can hide it, but it's a little bit more subtle. So if I'm at school or I'm at
So have you always got it on you then?
Yeah, so it's always on for 2 weeks, then I take it off and
It's like
change
a needle
it.
in your arm. That's...
Yeah, it's like a little circle bit of plastic, and then there's a needle in my arm.
Okay.
And that must measure the blood, or like calculate whatever the blood sugars are. I don't know.
It's mad how everything's developed,
Yeah, I'm not
isn't it?
really sure, to be honest, but I think it's definitely more subtle, and I can just sort of do it when I'm out and no one can notice.
easier.
It's
Can you do it over
easy.
clothes and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can just do it over
You can swim with it,
t-shirts.
everything.
Oh yeah, swimming, everything. Yeah.
So
Pretty cool,
Yeah.
I don't want to labour the point too much, but I think it's really important to get those who are listening to understand how this affects your daily life. So things like, compared to then versus now, right? The turning the light on, that's disrupting your sleep. And, you were 16 at the time, so you had exams, etc.
Yeah.
Talk us through that a little bit. How was it really affecting your day-to-day life, given what you was doing at the time?
It's actually, because I was thinking of this earlier as well, because I remember when it happened. So I obviously got diagnosed in the summer of like our GCSEs, and I remember at the time like mum saying to me, Molly, don't worry if your GCSEs aren't that good, because like obviously
I would have loved my mum to do this.
no, honestly, I remember her being like, because I know it would, like, when I think back now in year 11, I couldn't think straight, like, because I was obviously, my blood sugars were so high, I couldn't concentrate on anything. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm really stupid, like I don't know anything. But then
These times your brain was going mad.
yeah. In hindsight, obviously it was because like my blood sugars, and I couldn't concentrate, and I just couldn't do it. And then I remember mum saying to me, like, don't worry, because obviously you've been going through a big change or whatever. So if they're not great, then don't worry. But they were fine. So, but yeah, at the time I remember panicking, thinking, oh my God, if I get really bad GCSEs and I've just...
we think our life's over.
That's what I mean.
Well,
you do think your life's over, don't you?
Yeah, I was stressing.
Not to get too political, but the present government did just put a suggestion out there to say that, you know, if you don't get grade C in English and
they're
maths,
not going to fund your university.
I did see that.
So
Do they?
imagine someone is going through diabetes type 1 transition.
Oh, that would have definitely scared
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
just put that out there. I'm not going to labour that point at all, but just to throw that out there, it's a lot is going on in people's bodies and people's lives at this time. So we need to bear that in mind when we start to take away the ability for them to fund their future. But you know, thank you for that. I mean, I've got a few more questions. One thing I wanted to touch on as well is, do you think it was useful for you to have your dad there as a sort of role model? And how did he feel? Like, was there any sort of, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did he feel guilty, or, you know, was there any sort of conversation where he was like, did he become a role model for you, or was there any sort of conversation around that?
What do you think? I feel like Martha might be a good one to ask, because I was sort of going through it. I don't really remember much about like what people were saying or what was, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think because it was such a norm in our house, and our house I think is quite unique in the way that we kind of move on with, you know, we kind of deal with a lot of things quite quickly, and we kind of, nothing's really blown up out of proportion. I don't know how to describe it, but
we didn't make it into a big deal.
No,
really.
It wasn't a big deal at all, which I think in some ways is good, because like you say, you still do everything that you want to do. It doesn't stop you from doing something. It's just maybe an additional thought with eating or planning if you're going away, what you kind of have to bring. But it wasn't, it was just kind of accepted. And like I say, I think that's a good thing sometimes, but then also, like you're saying, with the physical effects it takes on you, you kind of forget about that as well, if that makes sense.
So let's touch on that sort of going away aspect. What does that mean? What do you have to do?
Like if I was going on holiday, or like even going for a night away or something, I'd have to make sure I've got like enough insulin on me, enough needles, like a sensor in case this one breaks, like sugary snacks in case in the night I need to get something, and I'm obviously not at home, so I can't just like go to the fridge and get a Coke or an orange juice or something. So just making sure I've always got something on me.
Have you got like an emergency pack or anything?
I just have like, it just in like my bag. I just
throw it in there.
I just throw it in there. Make sure there's like a snack or a Coke or something. But I do just want to say, because I know you said like, oh, is dad like a role model? I don't want to just skip over that and think like, just ignore that. Obviously, definitely, because I think he is so good with it and just does everything as normal, like has never said don't do this because of your diabetes, or has never stopped doing anything himself. Definitely a role model, because I think if he wasn't like that, maybe my perspective on it would be a bit different. I could be like, let it take over my life and be quite like, oh my God, I can't do this, can't do that. Whereas I've done everything really that everyone else has done, like, you know, going out.
NCS.
Exactly. Well, actually, did anyone here do NCS?
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that probably says more about me. But no, definitely. I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Did your dad get it young as well, or?
I think the like normal age, like typical age, is like a teenager, like a 12, 13. So obviously I was a bit older, and then he was like,
I think he was
our age now, probably like 25, 26 when he
Really?
got
he
it.
was a bit older. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was.
But you just think how different it was maybe when he was first diagnosed.
Yeah.
Like the treatments then versus when you first were diagnosed to now.
To
Even
now,
the
like,
awareness.
it's
He
just
could have been
crazy.
living with it for
A couple of years,
yeah.
maybe.
But he's had it,
Probably.
Before he got diagnosed,
Because that's really, you don't, normally it's like children and young teenagers. So.
Well, listen,
maybe.
shout out Dom.
I love that.
I didn't even hold that dog.
Well, I'm glad. You got obviously, you know, people there who can take you through it, and I think that's a lucky thing to have, I suppose. How does Dom go through it now? What affects his life? I'm thinking things like, you know, does it change his daily life, anything like that?
It's a difficult one. I think
Obviously, he's a lot older than me, so maybe it does get a bit more difficult. So
I suppose it's just those things of additional thoughts. So circulation is sometimes a big thing with people with diabetes. So dad, for example, will always like be wearing slippers and socks and things like that, because you've got to make sure that
your hands and feet and things are warm.
Yeah.
And like if we get cuts,
slippers.
if we get like cuts or things, it takes longer to heal because obviously your immune system is weaker than other people's.
Really?
So so if I got like a cut on my arm or my leg or something, it would take longer to heal.
And they used to make you prick yourself. That's a bit.
I know.
Can
you believe it?
What a sick joke.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this is sort of diabetic related, but I know with Dad, like his hands, it's sort of like all your nerves and your, not muscles, your nervous system. So if you don't sort of look after your hands and your feet, you might not always be able to like write as well, or
really.
He'll still tell you he's a finely tuned athlete and
Oh,
played
yeah.
football like for however long. So
Yeah.
he's
Listen,
fine.
I think Rochelle and I would have been like pro footballers or something like that. I was thinking more pro boxer, but
Yeah.
pro boxer.
in our heads, you know what I mean? I'm wearing a Leicester shirt, and basically they gave it to me because I was a star. But yeah, health problems and all that. Okay. So you mentioned circulation. What's the implications of that? You know, how bad can it get, or you know?
So if you didn't look after like your hands, I'm laughing, it's not funny. If you couldn't look after your sort of like hands or your feet or your nerves or anything like that, they could be amputated.
Wait, what do you mean if you don't look after your...
So
I
if
think it's like
you
managing your bloods, isn't it?
yeah. Sorry, if you're
Oh, okay.
if you're not managing your bloods and you just let them get really high, or they constantly low, or they're constantly high, and that affects your nerves and your nervous system, then you could potentially have like amputations.
No way.
Yeah. But touch wood, I won't have any of them.
Just for the record, Molly did literally touch wood, we all have.
Everyone does it.
Yeah, just to make sure.
So all these things, who do you have to inform? I'm thinking, obviously, if you're carrying needles and you go to an airport,
I keep punching your picture, man.
what does that mean?
No one's actually ever stopped me or like
Don't you have to go through the
Security,
X-ray and does
yeah.
it beep beep?
no. I don't know if they're just sort of familiar with what it is
Yeah.
now, and it's not
Oh,
like
But I
illegal.
suppose
Flags
like
up.
letting your workplace know as well, because
Oh, yeah.
sometimes you would have
Of course, you work with children.
if you're because sometimes if your bloods suddenly drop or go really high, you're going to have to act and correct it and maybe sit down and have
Leave me
to-
alone, Charlie.
Give me a minute.
So obviously that needs to be a conversation so
Get me some
people would be
Coke.
aware.
God. Yeah, I suppose so. But I think now I've just probably got really used to like knowing when to eat and when to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I don't need to do that, because I think, oh my gosh, if I was with the children or something, that probably could be quite, well, scary, couldn't it? I suppose.
Definitely.
Yeah, for them and me as well. So
DVLA, do you have to let them know?
yeah, so every 3 years I get a new driving license. They have to just like, you have to do a bit of paperwork and just sign it and say like you're fit to drive, and you've just got to make sure you check your blood sugars, and you have to go for an eye test every year, to make sure that like your eyes are all good and that you can drive and things like
I
that.
haven't been to one.
What do you mean eyes are all
years
good?
now.
Yeah.
I think the last time I went was when I saw you.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I've
I
got
took my
one
uncle. Yeah.
in
Yeah, just for
March. Yeah. But you can't drive, can you, to the appointment?
No, he doesn't drive anyway.
Oh,
But yeah, he doesn't drive
okay.
anyway.
Oh, yeah, you can't drive because they put drops and
They
things
put
in your
drops
eyes, and it
and-
makes your eyes go really big and you can't see. So obviously you
Was
can't
it
drive.
cataracts? Something like that.
Glaucoma?
That's it. It's something like
I
that.
don't know.
What's cataracts?
I think they
then?
check for a few things, don't they?
Yeah.
Might be that as well.
I feel
That
like
sounds
it is
familiar
that.
as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
So it can affect your eyes as well.
You can
Yeah.
actually go blind.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think just to be clear,
No, it's because you said it so seriously, and then you just like your facial expression.
Yeah, because when I found out, I didn't know, because that was my first time taking my uncle to that appointment.
Yeah, no.
And
Obviously,
then
it's serious.
I was chatting
yeah.
to the doctor, and then she goes, "Yeah, you can actually go blind if you don't
Yeah.
find it early." A bit late for that, mate.
Sorry, I just want to say I was laughing at Rochelle's expression.
Don't blame me.
I think there's a lot to manage, isn't it? And I mean, do you keep any sort of record of how you're feeling throughout these processes, or do you just go for it day to day?
I think I just go through it day to day, and then like now and again, I might just have a moment when I think, oh my god, this is too much, or but I just sort of not keep it to myself, but I just sort of maybe say I would say something to you, or just be like, oh my god, it's just really annoying me at the minute or something, but I just have to carry on.
Look,
so.
maybe this is a misconception on my part, but this is really ignorant what I'm about to say. But you don't look like you have diabetes, right? And I think this is going to lead into my next question. Are there any misconceptions about what diabetes is? Diabetes type 1 in particular, obviously, that you'd like to clear up? It's okay if there's not, but I thought I'd throw it out there.
No, I think that's good, because I think people look at other people and they're like, oh my gosh, you don't look how I would imagine someone with diabetes maybe to look like. But I don't know. What do you think, Martha?
I don't know. I think when a lot of people think diabetes, they think type 2 diabetes, which is more of a lifestyle, like we've said earlier. So they kind of think, oh, you can't eat this, or you can't.
Oh yeah, that does actually get a bit annoying sometimes.
So if you say you're diabetic, they assume that you can't have sugar, you can't eat,
have
you can't do
any.
anything.
Really?
But you can, obviously.
I can.
It's
Just in a controlled way.
Yeah, just like everyone, like when I was with the nursing things, they were like, you just have to eat like everyone else, and everyone should be eating a balanced diet. So you can obviously eat a balanced diet. So it does sometimes, it's just a bit annoying when people are like, oh, you can't have that because you're diabetic, and you can't have that chocolate. And I think, yeah, it can, but I just have to obviously inject for it. So maybe that, but I just sort of just let it go. Still eat it.
How do you let everyone know? So do you know what you got? What was it at 16? You got diagnosed.
Yeah.
How do you slowly let your friends circles of your friend circle know?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Do you just slap out the machine and just
You're next. Yeah.
Prick your finger.
I don't know. I think I just maybe when I met up with them just sort of said, or maybe I just like text them and was like, oh, just so you know, this has happened. Yeah. Just to keep you in the loop. So maybe, I don't know. I can't actually really remember.
No.
But I do remember, Kavan, you came round that summer, because do you remember you went on holiday to I'm sure you did.
I just left. Leave Molly to it.
You did. I remember you, Mum, and Mark and Tanya went on holiday, and me and Dad stayed. We didn't go for some reason.
Yes.
And we stayed at the house.
You were never going.
Got stopped at security.
You got to need us when you go
but
back.
then Dad decided to stay with you because you were just diagnosed, and you were going to stay at home, but Dad then decided to stay at home with you,
so we could sort of
kind
like
help you adjust with injecting and things like that.
Yeah, and I remember Kavan, you came round with Ronald and Jade. I'm sure it was the four of us, and I'd just been diagnosed, and we were like, obviously eating like cakes and biscuits, probably not the right thing. But I just remember you like came round in that period, but I don't know how I told you. Did I text you or?
If my memory serves me right, and you know we're going back a few years now, I'd say I think it was something like got a message, I've been in hospital for the last few days, don't really know what's gone on or whatever, and I've got type 1 diabetes. And even, to be fair, I sound like a really bad parent right now, because this is what, 8 years ago?
9
years ago, and I didn't do I didn't research it then, so I didn't know then, and I don't know now, so maybe. But you sort of revealed it then. But I didn't really know what that meant, other than the machine and the pricking of the finger, really.
I think if you just hear it, you just sort of think probably. Or I sometimes think people might think if they hear diabetes, they ate too much sugar, so now they have to inject, or do you know what I mean? Or they had too many sweets and now they've got to inject, or...
Yeah.
So maybe that's what people just thought. Maybe they thought I just ate too much sugar and now I have to inject. I don't know. But...
So last questions from me. Awareness. Would you like more? If so, what? Do you actively raise awareness for diabetes? It's okay if you don't, by the way. I'm just asking the question.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes maybe I share things on social media. Not all the time, sometimes, but I don't probably do. I suppose I could always do more, but because I want it to be normal and I want to just keep it as like a normal thing. I don't want to, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think
let it sort of define me and be like, oh my gosh, I'm Molly, I've got diabetes and I have to do you know what I mean? I just want to be normal, have it, and do everything else as normal.
Yeah, I suppose you do that with everything you do day to day. Like, you still live a very normal life, you still do everything that you want to do, you still eat everything that you want to do, want to eat, so there's no difference. But I suppose there should be more awareness about it, because even like when we've had conversations, Kavan, about it, you're one of Molly's good friends, and it's kind of, if you're not in that diabetes bubble, let's say, if you don't know somebody who's got it, it kind of feels worlds away, and like the language, everything's a bit, don't really know what that is,
what that means.
There's a huge gap in information between what I know and obviously what you guys know. Hopefully this clears it up a little bit though, which is a good thing.
Yeah, hopefully. Rochelle, I was going to ask, is your uncle type 1 or type 2 or?
That's a good question.
On the spot. Putting you on the spot, sorry.
No, I think he's type 2 because he doesn't do the testing or anything. He's on meds.
Oh, okay. No, I just wondered what like your experience or your family experience with diabetes was.
My gran had it.
Oh, okay.
So do you know when I saw you in sixth when you got the machine out? Yeah. I instantly knew that was like the diabetes machine. Yeah. Because my gran had it. Most of the Asian families in general have it. I think the older generation, because we don't really have a good diet, to be honest. That's what it is. Okay. But my uncle had it, my gran had it, and that's it, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So did you sort of grow up with it as well? Like, was it quite?
No, not really. I saw, obviously, you see, I just thought it was pretty cool when I was younger. I was like, oh.
Test me.
Test me. But I guess so. Yeah, I saw my grandma. I saw like her little come downs, up, down. Yeah. So I saw all of that, to be honest. But I didn't know all the extra things. I learned that on the go. Yeah. You know, like the eyesight thing. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like you can actually lose your eyesight. Which I thought that was scary.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah. When you walked in, I was like, what are you doing here?
I was really surprised to see you.
And you looked at me like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm with him.
Yeah, no, I know. But I did see something the other day, actually, that said something like if you're it gave like statistics of if you're a relative with someone of diabetes, that like your sister is like 10% chance of having it, or if your dad has it, you've got more chance than your mum. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if then it carries on through like my family, like brothers and sisters, genes, or
so if one of us have children,
like you could be a carrier. Like,
I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know, but I'm just thinking if it's in our family, I don't really know how it works.
Might come up again.
Yeah, like later on or whatever.
Lots to discover.
Yeah,
let's figure it out. One last question. Mm-hmm. Do you have any like diabetic inspirations? Anyone we can follow on Instagram? Anyone we can find out more information from? Who posts the good content on this stuff?
Follow memes.
I follow those funny accounts, and it's like tries to make a joke of it, like of diabetes or whatever. They're quite funny. But I follow someone called, does Kate Moss have a sister or a daughter called Lila Moss or something? She's a runway model. Catwalk model? Is that what you call it? Runway model?
It's not my forte.
She obviously does like the catwalk things, and she's got her sensor on.
Oh, she walks with it?
Yeah. So she's like doing fashion shows. She's got a sensor.
There's another, I can't remember her name. She does fitness.
Oh, yeah. I was telling him about her today. She's called Heidi Jane something. Anyway, she does fitness, and she's like a PT and things, and she's got a sensor. I might have sent a few things to you, actually. I might have been Martha. And she does quite normal posts about diabetes, but like it doesn't take over her feed, and it's not all she sort of talks about, because I think sometimes I don't want to bore people talking about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to bore, and she's very good like that. Like she'll post lots of different things, but also just do like a little update and, like letting people know little snippets of things that probably is interesting.
Well, we'll try and find that. We'll try and put it in the description and let people know about it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, Molly.
No, thank you for having us.
It's been amazing getting to know a little bit about you, the family, type 1 diabetes.
You'll have to get Dom on.
Yeah, we will. Listen, I'll pass it over to you. Get the schedule right. And every Sunday we're recording, so we'd like to get him on for sure.
Oh, no, thank you.
A difference in perspective will be good, right? So, that's been Before Our Friends Die. You've been joined by me, Kavan.
Me, Rash.
And 2 special guests in Martha and Molly. Really appreciate their time today. It's been great. Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Love.
Look, obviously, we hope you've learned a lot about type 1 diabetes there. If you've got any questions for us, please do get in touch. akhi&saltfish@gmail.com is our email address. Ask us any questions or get to know us a little bit more. We'd love to get in touch with you. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Have a great time.